Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be going over one of my favorite characters in My Hero Academia, Toru Hagakure. Unfortunately, we can't go over Toru 1 because she's rotated. Maybe there will be a spotlight video coming soon. But we can go over Toru Hagakure 2, who I think is still kind of a sneaky pick, and a lot of people ask, she's really good defensively, how do you kill people? I think I may have solved that problem. So let's get into it. She is a 6 hand size 27 health character. She has 1A in Student as her character traits, and her symbols are Air, Good, and Water. I have chosen Water for this deck. And she says, Enhance, your rival's block modifier gets, to block this attack, it gets +1. It gets an additional +1 for every 4 foundations in their stage. So if your rival has 8 foundations, at least, their block modifier gets +3 for every attack you throw. That's huge. And then response, Commit, after your rival plays an attack, add it to their hand. You may look at the top card of your rival's deck, and you may discard it. So you could try to get them to check even worse, especially if they check a 3 and they have to commit a whole bunch of foundations. You put it back in their hand, and if you see a 3 on top, you can just leave it there. Or if you see a 5, you can just discard it and hope they check a 3 again. So very powerful defensively and very tricky offensively. But these symbols don't really lend themselves to damage so much. So let's see how we're dealing with that. And I'm going to skip around a little bit to that damage before we get to our attacks. The first way is Titan Armbar. Not only is this a 5/5 with stun 2, which is really strong as an opener, even if it is a 7 difficulty, but while it's in your card pool, all your attacks get 2 damage. Instantly, all of your attacks doing more damage. That's really strong. But we also have Sports Festival Stadium, which as a static says if this card is in your stage, after a player takes damage from an attack, they lose 1 health. This can reduce a player to 0. So if you're making it really hard to block your attacks, and you're just chipping away with printed damage, this is a way to add a little bit more damage to your attacks, each attack. And as a response, you can commit it after your rival blocks your attack. You may discard their block and draw 1 card. So if they just tap themselves out on 1 block, you can discard it and say, cool, I'll just draw a card and hopefully draw another attack and just keep going in. And then lastly, we have Maximum Viscosity. This is a Girl Power Foundation that says after your ranged or slam attack deals damage, your rival loses 1 health. Also, can kill them. So if you have multiple of these out, you're just increasing the damage that your attacks can do without having to actually boost the damage of your attacks. And speaking of attacks, let's get into it. Most of the deck is slam and ranged to work with maximum viscosity, except for Titan Armbar and Invisible Infiltration, but those have their own uses. So our first attack is Smashing Stomp. This is a 4 6 EX3, which really helps push it through. It's a kick and slam. Enhance, your next check to play an attack gets +1. We like stringing out. And response, after this attack deals damage, draw 1 card. So being a 4-speed move with EX3, and we're constantly putting pressure on our opponent's block modifiers, makes it so this attack hits 80% of the time. So really, really powerful there. Next we have Eat My Sticky Balls. This is a reprint from My Hero Academia Set 1. It's a 4/4. It says, Enhance, if this attack is not blocked, add the top card of your rival's discard pile to their card pool. So, if they take this 4, and then maybe 2 from, say, Maximum Viscosity, they just get the top card of their deck discard pile to their card pool. So card pool clogging plus block modifier increase makes it really, really hard for our rival to deal with our attacks, and basically ensures that all of our attacks go uncontested, which is why I love Lizard Tail Splitter. It's a 3 mid 4, pretty basic stats, but you can discard 1 card, your rival adds 1 card from their hand to their card pool face up, and then each player draws a card, so you get to cycle a card you don't need out of your hand in order to stuff your rival's card pool and draw a card. So again, stuffing the card pool, making sure your rival's block modifiers are higher than anything can be, is a really powerful trick. And it's a really powerful combo, especially when you get like Sports Festival Stadium and 2 Maximum Viscosity. This is now dealing 7 damage. And it's got Deadlock Echo, so if your rival has to be pushed into deadlock to try to deal with your attacks, you can just play this as 2 attacks if you have the momentum to do it. Pretty strong. Next, we have Cinder Convection. This is a fun Crimson Rampage card. It's a 3 mid 5 with stun 1 and powerful 3. So, again, how do we deal damage? Powerful 3 is pretty good. Enhance, if this attack is not blocked, both players lose 2 health. So again, if they can't block it, they're going to burn for a little bit more. And then Enhance, discard 1 momentum, or spend 1 momentum. This attack gets +1 to each of its keyword ratings. So spend a momentum, this becomes a stun 1 powerful 4, stun 2 powerful 4, which can make this a really strong opener, or maybe a follow-up to a Smashing Stomp. So Smashing Stomp, your next check gets +1. They try to block the Smashing Stomp and lose all of their foundations. Then you play Cinder Convection, spend a momentum, stun 2, maybe pay 1 for powerful 4, make this a 9 damage, and then they lose 2 health for not blocking it. Really, really powerful. Same with Cannon Blast. So the thing about Cannon Blast, Cinder Convection, and Smashing Stomp is they could all work as openers because they really threaten your rival, and it really forces your rival to spend a lot of resources to try to block these, and then your smaller 4 diff attacks can get through pretty much uncontested. Same with Titan Armbar. If you see this, this is always going to be your opener. Stun 2, 5 high 5 is incredible to open. So Cannon Blast, it's a 4 high 5. Enhance, commit 1 foundation. This attack gets +1 speed and +2 damage. So it becomes a 5 high 7. Enhance, commit 2 foundations. This attack gets 2 speed and 4 damage to become a 6 high 9, or in all total a 7 high 11. Your rival's not blocking this. If you can get all 3 commits, your rival's not blocking a 7 high 11. It's just not happening. Next we have Battle Aura Release. I only have 2 in here because, personally, I only own 2. And I try to build my decks to what I can actually put together. So if you wanted to maybe say like drop the Cinder Convections and put in 2 more Battle Aura Releases, perfectly acceptable. It's a 4 high 4. You can flip a foundation to draw a card. And this attack is +X damage. X equals the number of face-down foundations in your stage, maximum 4. So it could be a 4 high 8 that draws you a card. And when you're messing with your rival's block modifiers, and this is, say, your 3rd attack in the string, that's just 8 damage they're taking. There's just no way about it. Excuse me. Next we have Invisible Infiltration. This is a 3 low 5. It's a +2 mid block that has Hagakure Breaker 2. So as long as we are Toru Hagakure, we get Breaker 2 on this, which is a very powerful defensive ability, so that if we block with it, our rival's next check gets -2. The fewer foundations our rival has ready going into our turn, the better. Enhance, this attack gets 1 damage for every 4 foundations in your rival's stage. Pretty fun. But the main utility of this card is the second Enhance. Remove 1 foundation from either player's stage. After this attack resolves, the owner of the removed foundation builds it from the removed from game pile face up. So you could take a face down card that you flipped, say you had to commit it to pass a check, you get to remove it as a face down committed foundation, and it comes back after this card resolves as a face up ready foundation, which there are a lot of cool foundations that can get some counterplay with this. Is really fun. And we've already gone over Titan Armbar. So going on to our assets. Vertical Maneuvering Equipment's just one of the best cards in the game right now. Spend a momentum for +3 or -3 speed and a zone change. This guarantees our attack hits. This guarantees we don't get hit. And it can commit for an extra 2 damage if needed. Then we have Item Box, which is one of the best defensive pieces in the game. We can commit it, return this attack to its printed speed and damage, its printed zone, and if it was unblockable, it is no longer unblockable. And then we've already talked about Sports Festival Stadium. So onto actions, we have Strategic Maneuver, which for some reason I keep calling Chomp. I think because it's it's an action with 4 control. But as a form, we can remove it. Choose 1 asset from our discard pile. If that asset's printed difficulty is 2 or less, we may discard 1 card. If we do, we get to build that chosen card. Otherwise, we can add the chosen card to our hand. All of our assets are printed to difficulty. So this is just, we checked a Sports Festival Stadium, we're going to discard a card to build it. Or we can just first form, just pick up the Sports Festival Stadium and play it, if we're just starting on a build turn. So really good way to get our powerful assets into play if we have checked them. And lastly, for actions, we have Referee Jury. Enhance, we can change this attack's damage to 4. If it deals damage, draw 1 card. So, really good way to protect ourselves. And then in card pool response, flip this card and commit 1 foundation. After our rival plays an Enhance ability, they commit 1 foundation. Again, the fewer ready foundations they have going into our turn, the better. On to foundations. We have Mikasa defeats the female Titan. This is just good defense. Response, flip after you block an attack, it deals no damage. So it's basically wall cling, but on response speed, so your rival doesn't see it coming. We have Ferocious Attacker. Enhance, flip if your rival has lost health this turn, draw 1 card. This helps us continue our strings. Titanic Combat. This is fun. As a response, we can commit it. After we take damage from an unblocked attack, we get to build the top card of our deck face down committed. We have more resources going into our turn. And during our turn, we can commit it as an Enhance. This attack gets 2 damage, and our rival commits a foundation. So 2 damage and effectively stun 1. Really powerful going into our offensive turns. And then Unmatched Power, first Enhance, remove. This attack gets plus X damage. X equals the printed difficulty of that attack. So cards like Titan Armbar get plus 7. Smashing Stomp gets plus 5. Lizard Tail Splitter gets plus 4. Just do remember this is a first Enhance. It has to be the first Enhance you play during your Enhance step. I keep forgetting that. And it's really tricky when you're 3 Enhances deep and you realize, oh, I should have just Unmatched Power here. We've already gone over Maximum Viscosity. This is our main way of adding on more chip damage to every attack. Condescending Explanation is a really powerful defensive piece. As our first Enhance, we can remove it and spend a momentum to flip this attack. So we've basically abort 1 rival attack, and it stays in their card pool, forcing them to play on progressive difficulty. Similar, we have Cheerleader. As a response, we can remove this card, spend 1 momentum. After an attack is played, it gains Flash. So our rival's attack gets no blitzes and gets no enhances. We go straight from responses to block, and that is really, really powerful. And as a first form, since we are Toru Hagakure, we can flip this card. Both players build the top card of their deck face down, only playable if your rival has 8 or fewer foundations. So I've done this where I've flipped this, built my rival to 8 foundations, and then played Invisible Infiltration, removed Cheerleader after it was face down. It built back face up, so I was able to access its defensive capabilities on my rival's next turn. So not only allowing me to get more increase to their block modifiers, but I also get back the defensive capabilities. Really, really good. We have Fast Friendship. It can flip from -2 speed, -3 speed if we have more face downs than our rival. Pretty strong. Syndicate Target's just a good defensive card. It's a 0 low block. It's a 6 check. Even though we lose a health after we block with it, it can really save us in some of those situations where maybe a Walk the Dog is coming our way. Fateful Meeting. This is a fun another little burn card. After we take damage from an unblocked attack, we can remove Fateful Meeting, and our rival loses 3 health. This can't reduce them below 1 health, but it gets them closer to where Maximum Viscosity and Sports Festival Stadium chipping away can reduce them to 0. We have Asui's Friendship here. This is fun, because after our ranged attack deals damage, we can commit this to force our rival to commit 2 more foundations. Really, really powerful offensive card there. Basic Training, response once per turn. After we play an attack, it gets 1 damage. Just a little bit more chipping on there. And as a Deadlock response, basically all of our attacks get +1 speed, and that is a Tenacious ability or playable while committed. So if we push them into Deadlock, Basic Training gives all our stuff 1 speed. Really useful. Speaking of speed, we have Feel and Cute. We can destroy a foundation. Our attack gets +1 speed. Keeps us out of Deadlock, and attacks more speed on, so we can guarantee our stuff connects. Struggling with Studies is good defensively. We can flip it after our rival plays their 3rd or greater attack. We can add 1 card from our card pool to our hand. And we can protect our other cards like Maximum Viscosity from being flipped. And finally, we have Ice Gliding. It's just commit for +1 or -2 speed, and if this attack is blocked, the next attack gets +1 or -1 speed. So, guaranteeing our stuff gets through, guaranteeing our rival's stuff does not. And that is my Toru Hagakure 2. I think she's pretty fun, and I think this aspect of the burn with like Sports Festival, Maximum Viscosity, Fateful Meeting, I think that really helps. Cinder Convection even. I think that really helps her game plan of these symbols don't offer a lot of damage boost, so you've got to find your damage in other ways. And I think this is a really creative way to play her. But what do you guys think? If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, please. That would support the channel a lot. And if you want to support the channel even more and get some extra goodies, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. I would really appreciate it if you guys would just give a thought to that. But until next time, guys, take care.